better run, man. Life's a pain, but you got me. Yeah, life's a pain, but I got you.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, you know how they're doing those flashback Venom stories that take place in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, man, I'd love for them to do one where it actually has Venom and Kane meet in the 90s. You know, like during the Clone Saga. And then I was thinking, I was like, and then you could set up something to where now the sequel to that could be a modern day story where they meet again, and you could have Venom, Kane, Hallows Eve, and Ben or Chasm all in one book. I was thinking of that too, and I'm like, God, that would be so much fun for someone to write, I'm sure. But then you could advance their characters, even though Venom isn't Eddie Brock right now. We'll get into that because I do want to talk a little bit about the current and future state of Venom and Eddie, because I know I've had people DM me and write me asking me like, hey, what's your review on all new Venom? And what's your review? What are your thoughts on, Eddie Brock Carnage? I want to hear your thoughts first, but I just want to tell those people before we get into your thoughts, and then I'll give mine, is I am not covering those. So I almost didn't cover the Al Ewing run of Venom. And I kind of, in retrospect, wish I didn't, because one of the hardest episodes for me to make recently has been the Venom War coverage, which I did film and I have mostly edited, but I really have a lot of negative things to say. And it's not my favorite thing to do is be negative, because I know that even when I'm sometimes mean about it, sometimes I get so passionate I come across a little mean. I get that because I don't like being that way, because I know how hard it is to write. I know how hard it is to draw. These are things I personally do. I've been an editor in comics. I've been a writer. I know how hard it is to tell a story. So I always try to keep that in mind, but I also have to give my how I really feel about stuff. And I really did not like how Al Ewing's story wrapped up. And I wasn't a big fan of the interview he did where he basically said, I'm just now getting my bearings on how to write Venom.
Oh, man.
And he goes, and he says that right during Venom War. He's like, yes, I think in Venom War, I finally figured out how to write this character, and I can't wait to write him further. And I'm like, okay, but what are you talking about? Because it took you 40 plus issues to figure out how to write this character, and now you're going to give the suit to a completely different character? What do you mean? What do you mean? So if you know how to write him now, why don't you write him now? So that's been a little frustrating, but I want to hear your thoughts. What are you, not about Venom War, but about the all new Venom, and your thoughts about Eddie Brock being the new Carnage?
Okay, first I'm going to go with the Carnage part, because it's not. I'm not going to go into as much detail on it.
Okay.
I think that if done right, it could turn into something good, possibly. But I'm going to say this.
Okay.
I have been a Venom fan since Venom was a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So, to me, and I'm just saying this, I'm still going to pick it up. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to give it a shot.
You're a good fan.
Because it's Eddie Brock.
Of course.
But this, to me, feels like a betrayal.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, this is coming from a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the way that Venom War ended and how we're going into this Eddie Brock Carnage, I was not a fan of how that happened. So,
I'm with you.
I am not happy about that. And how they're saying that it's going to be, he's the most lethal protector of all. Like Carnage is actually going to be anything like Venom, like he's going to be a good guy. Yeah, right, man. What pisses me off so much is we're going to have Eddie Brock murdering people again, dude. Oh, man.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate it. All that character growth. But oh my God.
Yeah. My thoughts on that real quickly before we get into all new Venom. I would say the same thing. Like, is there an interesting story to be told with Eddie struggling to control Carnage? Absolutely. That there is an interesting story you can tell there. But like you said, during Venom War, how they set that up and led him there, that was a terrible transition. And it's all because I think Al Ewing wants to set up, if you read his Venomverse Reborn 5-question story. He just wants to set up the King in Crimson, which is probably going to be Eddie Brock, right? Like bonded with Carnage. And either that or they'll find a way through that to bring Cletus back or something. But Carnage is one of those characters for the last like 5 years they just don't know what to do with. Ever since they killed him in Donny Cates run, the Cletus Cassidy, they just don't know what to do with that character. To the point where they're like, oh, we'll make a genetic recreation of Cletus. Oh, but that one's a god. And this one is a younger version that doesn't want to be a god. And he just wants to be a serial killer again. And they threw every idea at the board and none of those ideas stuck with Carnage. They just don't know what to do with him. And this seems like the only thing they could do with him. So I'm interested on that level, but I just don't know if it'll get executed well. I may read it, but I will not cover it on the show, most likely. But because the show won't be around anymore. But anytime we talk Chasm and Kane, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that stuff at the end of the episodes. So what about all new Venom? What are your thoughts on that? Because I think an issue came out, or I have not read it, by the way.
Okay. So my gripe with this, I had somebody ask me, because I was just airing my grievances on Twitter.
Yeah.
And I had somebody ask me, what's going on? What happened? And they were like, tell me what happened. And I was like, it's a really long story, but the short of it is, it went from Donny Cates to Al Ewing. So this is what I said. I didn't say any names.
Yeah.
I said it went from hands that cared into hands that didn't care.
Yeah.
Literally. That's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that I understand probably the context. It probably sounds different in the room when he was doing an interview where he says like, hey, I feel like I finally caught my stride with this character. Like to me as a fan reading that interview, it doesn't sound good, right? Like after I've spent, a couple $100 buying all these comics to follow this story and read it and give it a shot. And then I get to the end of the run and the guy says, yeah, I just now figured out how to write this guy. I immediately was like, well, then I ain't buying any more of your books, bud, because I like Al Ewing. I like the stuff he's done before and with other characters. And I've liked some of the Venom stuff. Some of it was interesting. And trust me, I can appreciate a concept. Well, like one, I know he had to clean up a few things. Like, remember at the end of Donny Cates' run, Eddie Brock was an old man. So I know he had to fix some things and tweak some things. So I give him credit for, okay, he had maybe a little bit of a rough start. But a lot of his ideas that he said, oh, Kang the Conqueror and Eddie become good friends. That's all wrapped up in one issue. Like all this, and I'm going to get into that in my Venom War stuff, so I'll spare a lot of you guys here. But it's just, there was so much that the book started with where he was co-writing things with Rom V that just got wrapped up so quickly when Rom V left. And it was just him writing and the new editor. And then it felt like they probably had more story to tell, but the book wasn't selling well. So they were like, all right, we got to get ready to cancel it and relaunch it with a new number 1. So you got to wrap up your story. So we got to get to Venom War a little bit faster than before. So these plot threads, you got to do them quickly. And then for some reason, they brought in Torin Grunbook to like set up a Black Widow costume randomly. And I'm like, why? Like, why have these filler issues in the middle of the main run? Why not just give Torin a miniseries or something to, write? Or I don't know. There was so many things that there was all these backdoor pilots, if you want to call them that, in Al Ewing's run that derailed a little bit from the real purpose of the run. And I just felt like he kind of lost his footing. And I appreciate the Garden as someone who, after a diagnosis have been brought in and learned about a single place in our mind where versions of me can go and interact. It is hard to explain to people. So I try not to do it often. But I can appreciate that on a personal level of what they did with the Garden and all the different Eddies and stuff from different times and all that. I'm like, that's a neat concept because I'm kind of learning that about myself, and Eddie's learning that in this story, and it made me connect a little bit to Eddie. But I just realized, what is that, like less than 1% of the population, and less than that even read comic books. So am I the only guy who connects to Eddie on that level on the planet in this story? Or one of them, like one of 5 people maybe? So I found the story really all over the place, and it hurt to hear him say, finally found my footing. And then it's like, all right, cool, you found your footing. So now you're going to write Eddie as Venom from now on? No, I'm going to write someone else as Venom. And I'm like, so you found your footing on this character, but now you're going to write a completely different character. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so did you find your footing writing Luke Cage while you're writing Venom? Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, I'm not going to get on board with this run. I'm sure one day as a fan I'll read it, but I'll probably never review it or talk about it on this show. So those of you out there who want it, I'm sorry, but I will bring Randy back whenever we talk about Ben Reilly and Kane, and you'll hear his thoughts on this show about whatever is happening with Venom in that run. But I'm curious about the Carnage thing. Maybe I'll read the first issue with you and we can talk about it one day. But if I don't like the first issue, I ain't buying anymore.
With the all new Venom.
Yeah.
My biggest gripe about going into it right now, like with the first issue, okay. We know that it's not Eddie. We know that it's not Dylan.
Right.
Pretty much it's one of 2 people.
Okay.
And it's guaranteed it's one of these 2 people.
Okay.
It's either Luke Cage or it's Rick Jones. Okay. What bothers me the most is that I feel that whoever the host is should be attached to the Spider-Man universe. Okay. Now, the last time that the host wasn't attached to the Spider-Man universe was Lee Price. How'd that go?
Yeah, no kidding. Think of this. How wild would this have been? Chasm, Curse of Cain comes out. Its own miniseries. Got your 4 issues. A stronger writer wrote the book. They get Ben to this place where by the end of it, an X-Man or someone comes and helps him get his memories back. And you got Ben. He's wholesome. The Chasm costume fades off of him. Or maybe it stays on him. Who knows? But he's just like, hey, I'm me again. I'm happy. Then he becomes the new Venom. And then, and you could have had this mystery of like, who's the new Venom? And he's got spider powers. That's so weird. And I don't know, maybe the costume would have gave it away or something, but Ben was the first Spider-Man to beat Venom in hand-to-hand combat. So like, to me, that would have been a cool full circle thing. Hell, even the Venom symbiote could have been the way Ben got his memories back.
Oh, dude. Oh man.
So
you're right.
So what the hell? Maybe that would have been cool for the Venom symbiote to be like, maybe even during Venom War, like, I need a host. The Chasm series, let's say continuity wise, it ends right before Venom War starts. Maybe the ending of the book could have been them looking up and seeing the zombiotes coming out, and they could have been like, all right, and follow Chasm and Kane and Hollow's Eve into the events of Venom War. And they could have got their own miniseries. And then you could have had a moment where the suit left Peter, because it had that great bonding with Peter in the Spider-Man miniseries from Venom War, and then feel Ben's pain. And maybe Ben still didn't have his memories back, but the symbiote sensed that pain. It saw someone who needs a redemption and went and bonded with Ben. And then at the end, they, did something. I mean, that would have been awesome.
The symbiote could have healed him, and like gave him his memories. This completely healed him and everything.
Yeah, and you could still have that. You could still have that take time. Like you don't have to give him his memories back immediately. You could have the symbiote going, "Hey, I have to basically perform like a memory surgery on you. Like this is not going to be easy or fun, but I'll bond with you. I'll and I'll go through and I'll help you see those. Remember when you had that memory and the faces were blanked? The symbiote could be like, hey, I brought back one of those faces in one of your memories. I think that would have been so freaking awesome to have the symbiote kind of on this, because remember, he kept taking memories away from Eddie. This would have been a cool arc for the symbiote to go on where he's returning memories and he's bonded to someone he's never bonded to before, but he wanted to after Ben beat the crap out of Venom originally. So like, God, whatever. I don't know, man.
Well, there is a little something here.
Okay.
You just said now. This is just a little cornbread for people. I'm old school Venom fan here. Sorry.
Yeah.
But back in 1995,
Hmm.
there when the super specials were out, when
Yeah.
they went
Planet
to
of Symbiotes.
the planet of the symbiotes
Yeah.
for a short time. For a
Ben's sweater.
Yes, for a short time, Venom was with Ben Riley. People,
Yeah. They weren't bonded, but he mimicked the sweater.
right, right,
And he was wearing the blue sweater. So I was like, oh, that's cool. That's Blue Venom, like from
yeah,
Marvel's
yeah,
Marvel's Capcom. I think this was pre-Marvel's Capcom, but still it was cool though. You're right.
yes,
He was with them. He wasn't bonded to
yes,
him, but he was with him. Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause I love that scene where his sweater comes off him. He's like, what the heck? Yeah. Good
But
call.
I wanted to throw that out there. I just thought that was neat.
No, that's a good memory, man. That's really good. Awesome. Well, so like I said, if we get any more Ben Riley and Kane stuff, we'll definitely come back. We'll do Clone Talk or something, and we'll continue this. And then if we can squeeze in a little current Venom stuff at the end for people, we will for sure. But any last thoughts before we head out, man? Because I think I'm glad we ran longer because I love doing these episodes with you. But it's getting late over here, and we got a lot of stuff we got to do before we go to bed.
Well, it was fun as always. I always
Heck
look
yeah.
forward to doing this. I look forward to doing it again when it happens.
Yes.
And I truly hope that Carnage and the all new Venom turn out good. It probably won't, but I'm trying to be hopeful here. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, I enjoyed this as always. I always look forward to it, and I look forward to doing this again in the future.
Awesome, brother. Well, we'll definitely have you back. Hopefully this story sold well enough to where we'll get more. We'll see. But if not, you can check out Hollow's Eve. She's in the Blood Hunters book right now. And hopefully we'll see Chasm and Kane show up again very, very soon. So, Randy, thank you again, brother. I always appreciate it. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you, man. Happy New Year. And thanks for being a part of this show for the last few years and for years to come. As long as we keep getting clone stories, I'll have you on here.
That sounds great to me. And happy holidays to you too, bro.
Thank you so much, man. You guys, thanks for watching. Leave your comments down below, and we'll keep talking down there. Thanks so much. See you in the future. Peace.